I'm Reese with Exterior Elegance. We're an independently licensed dealer and installer for Renaissance patio products. And today we're going to be installing the Renaissance Moderno patio cover. On this build, we're a little bit pressed for space, so we're making the most of it. We've got all of our tooling laid out here on our natural turf. We went ahead and set our saw up over there on the gravel. We don't want any of our aluminum shavings in this turf because that's going to be pretty tough to get back out. We met our delivery driver the other day, moved all of our materials out of the driveway and staged them up along the side of the house, verified the order for accuracy, and kept it behind the fence so that there will be no damage or theft of any of our job site materials. Ideally, we like to stage our materials in a chronological order. That way we're grabbing the items as we need them. On this job, we're a little bit pressed for space, so we went ahead and put our panels on the one side and we have all of our other material on the other side. It's not a massive project, so we're not going to be moving things around too much, grabbing the items we need. Although we don't have a lot of room to work with our materials, we did set it up so that as we're bringing our material past our saw, we'll be making our cuts and then carrying our materials onto our installation site. Had this unit been a standalone project with no other trades involved, we have some flexibility on where we want to line our post up as long as we stay within the boundaries of our footer. This unit will be getting an outdoor kitchen built underneath it after we're completed, and our general contractor has asked us to keep the faces of our posts in line with the edges of the pavers. We're going to take a little bit of extra time to make sure we place our posts perfectly so that we don't interrupt any other segments of the project. So we've marked out where the edge of our paver deck will be. We've got our post anchor and a short section of post. We're going to slip that down over top of it, get that right on our lines, and we'll drill our holes right there. Now that I got all 4 holes started, take this off and drill them the rest of the way. So we do have some play in these post covers, but we want to make sure that our base is fairly level. So we got some shims here and we're going to secure it down incrementally and make sure it's level by the time we get it completely fastened. That's pretty close to straight. You're not going to get these completely perfect, but we're within range to where we will be able to level our post up. This roof has 2 fan beams and we want to make sure that those end up centered. So what we did was we took our entire measurement of our fascia, which was 259 inches. We divided that by 2, which was 129.5, marked our center point, and then measured out 10 feet in either direction. Those will be the marks on where we line up our receiving channel. Make sure you consult the engineering documents for your project. This one requires 6 inches on center for the lag bolts that'll be attaching our receiving channel to the fascia. We're going to go ahead and mark those out now with the Sharpie and pre-drill those, stagger on our holes high, low, so that our receiving channel sits flat on our fascia. We want to seal this up before we mount it to our fascia board, and before we do that, we want to make sure we wipe down the surface of this with denatured alcohol. Any point of contact where we're using solar seal on this project, we will be wiping it down first with the alcohol, including the front of our existing fascia board. About done right there. We're going to apply a bead of solar seal to the back of our receiving channel. You want your bead to be about a 1/4 inch. Make sure you keep the bead size consistent throughout. If you have a thin spot, that's where the leak's going to show up. Make sure it's even right about where that side beam's going to be at. Right there, even with the level edge of the house. We're going to be installing a side beam for a retractable screen, and we want that side beam to run completely in line with the bottom of our roofing panels and the bottom of the soffit. So we're installing our receiving channel directly in line with the bottom of the fascia. Now that our receiving channel is in place, we're going to apply a bead of solar seal right where our receiving channel meets the fascia board. Then once we have that on there, we're going to use our caulking tool to go ahead and smooth that right down into that gap. Depending on your local building department, the building inspector may want to see these connections. The problem is these connections aren't going to be visible once our structure is built. We're going to go ahead and get some photos with the tape measure laid up against these fasteners so that they can see that we did space them out per the engineering requirements. In addition to the receiving channel, I'm also taking photos of my internal beam clips, my post bases, and any other fastener that may not be visible to our building inspector after our project is complete. So to install our hardware to the top of the post, we're going to first begin by installing our post top cover. Then, using a section of our beam, we're going to secure our internal beam clip into place using Nylotech fasteners. Make sure to consult your engineering documents for the amount of fasteners. Sometimes they get through bolts. This one's using just the fasteners. Check your engineering documents for the amount of fasteners required for this part. We got this one on. We're going to go ahead and flip this over and do the same thing on the other side. All right, to pull our measurement for our post, what we've done is we've pulled our string line from the bottom of the receiving channel over here across to our post with the masking tape. We're going to find level. Once we have this marked, we're going to go ahead and pull that measurement and subtract our 1/2 inch per foot. This has a 10-foot projection, so we'll be subtracting 5 inches off of what this measurement is and cutting the post to length. From the bottom of the post to our level mark was 100 inches. After we subtracted our roof pitch, that leaves us with 95 inches. We're going to take our measurement from the top now down 95 inches, make our mark, and cut the bottom of the post off. Now that we have our first post cut, we're pulling across the top of that post over to this one and making a level mark. We're going to cut right on this mark. I've yet to encounter a concrete slab that is perfectly level, so you'll notice we're taking measurements for every single post on this structure. If we were to take one measurement and cut all of our posts to the same lengths, due to the slab being uneven, therefore our roof would be uneven as well. Now that we got our posts cut to length, make sure you put your post covers on. If you forget to put these on here, you can't get them on there without taking your structure back apart. To pull our measurement for our main beam, I like to measure from the bottom of our posts. That way I know whenever we place our main beam up top, our opening will be square. We're at 197 3/8 right here. Let me put mine in first, being that I got a little bit less play. We noticed once we threw our beam into place that our posts were leaning slightly. So what I did was I stood on the other end, pushed it back into level, while Danny put 2 fasteners in the beam. Now our structure is being held upright and in level with our fasteners. Verifying afterwards to make sure we're good. This cover is going to be getting a single side beam. They're installing this so that we have a place to mount our retractable screen housing. To mount our beam clip, we've got a short piece of beam cut off. We're going to put that right on the wall where we want it. I'm dropping it down just a touch so we have room to get the beam in there. And once we're in line with our marks, mark our holes. Check our level one time before we tighten this down all the way. We pulled our measurement for our side beam. We measured from the face of the house to the face of our post, making sure that our post was level while we took that measurement. We want it to fall back into level after we cut our beam and put it into place. Being that this side beam is pitched with our roof line, we want to make sure it's sitting flat against the post as well as the house. We're going to set our miter saw at 2.5 degrees, cut it off, take our measurement, and then cut the other end at 2.5 degrees as well. And when we get done, our beam will be sitting flat on both sides. We don't have enough movement in our post to be able to slip this beam past both of our beam covers. So we're going to notch out the top of this and slide it in from the bottom. This won't be visible once the structure is complete, so this doesn't have to look perfect. I'm going to throw my side on the house first, and then Daniel's going to tuck his side up underneath. I'm going to hold just that one for now. So if you notice right here, we still got a little bit of a gap. Before I secure this on here, I'm going to lift up with my shoulder Daniel's gonna push on that post over there. Pushing. Now that our beam's in place, we verified that our post is falling back into level. Everything on this structure is square. We can go ahead and fasten our posts to our post bases. Now that all our beams are in place, we'll secure our posts to our post base plates. Check your engineering documents to see how many fasteners you need. This one has 4 fasteners going in each face of our post. Our posts and beams are secure and we're ready to start putting on our roof. Our roof is going to include 2 fan beams and we want to ensure that those fan beams fall within our post symmetrically. We're going to do that by dividing the entire length of our beam by 2 and marking our center point. We've got our center point marked. We're going to take our first panel and center it directly on our mark. We're preparing our panels for installation. This is going to be the top edge of our panel. We're wiping down this seam with denatured alcohol to remove any of the waxes or oils that may be on this from the manufacturing process. We want our solar seal to adhere to this surface completely. Here, let's set this thing down on its side real quick. Make sure you get all of this plastic packaging out of here. This would prevent the solar seal from bonding to the aluminum itself. We don't want that in between. You want to hop on, set it there for a second so you can get on the outside so you can see where that mark is. Push to me. All right. Once we got the panel on the roof, we mark the center point of the panel and we line that up with the center point of the beam. We're going to go ahead and secure this panel in place and start adding our panels to the outside. Check your engineering documents for your fastener spacing. For this project, we're putting the 1/4 inch self-tapping screws at 6 inches on center in the receiving channel, and then the self-tappers at 6 inches on center on the end into the beam. The next 2 panels that we're going to install have an internal fan beam. An electrician's going to be coming along behind us to wire this thing up, and we want him to be able to find this beam. I'm throwing a roll of tape in right there, and we'll leave that there so the electrician can find it. Be nice to your electrician. We forgot to do this while this panel was on the table, but you want to make sure you're wiping down the underside of your top lip on the female side of the panel. Hold that right there. Yep. And then you want to get that ladder into position. Easiest way to get this in here is get just under that top edge, lift up, and then have your partner, Danny, go ahead and push in. Just like that. Before we snap these panels together, we're going to apply a bead of solar seal right here in the top groove of the male side of the panel. That way, whenever we compress these panels together, that bead of sealant will be sandwiched between the 2. We got our panel pretty close. We want our gap pretty even. We're going to give this a good shove at the same time. We're going to go on 1, 2, 3, go, right? Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Once you got it snapped in, check to make sure this seam is equal all the way. If it opens up a little bit, pull it apart and do it again. Easy. All right, you want to set it there and then hop on that outside one. All right, push a little more. There we go. Another thing to keep in mind whenever you're sliding these panels together, make sure you keep it inside this channel. If it shifts and drops out, your panel will come falling down. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, go, right? All right. 1, 2, 3, go. Depending on your project, you may find yourself having more panel than what you need by the time you reach the end of your receiving channel. I measured the distance from the last panel to the edge of the receiving channel and then added an additional inch for the gutter end cap. I'm going to be taking off about an inch from this panel using a skill saw with an aluminum blade. Make sure as you're positioning these panels, you're lifting it up so that it's not dragging across the top of the beam. If you drag it across, you will scratch the top of your ceiling. On this last panel, we have our side beam underneath, so we're not able to get under this edge. Using the painter's multi-tool, we're wedging it in here and getting our receiving channel top edge onto the top of our panel. I'll lift. Now you go ahead and tap it in. There we go. We're in. Just as we did on the top side of the receiving channel, we're going to be installing our fasteners at 6 inches on center on the bottom side. Your engineering documents will specify exactly where your fasteners should be placed. Now that we have our roof secured, it's time to begin installing our gutters. The gutter 90 is going to overlap your gutter by about 3/4 of an inch. Daniel's holding it down there at the end. I got 141 5/8. Sealant will be applied to the top lip of the gutter, so we're going to clean that off, as well as our end where we're going to be sealing our gutter end cap. Before we put this end cap on, we're going to put a little bit of solar seal right here in this groove where it's going to slide over the gutter. Hopefully your hand is steadier than mine.
Well, that went on easy.
If you get any sealant overlapping, you can take a little bit of alcohol and clean that up. Sometimes these gaps on these molded covers can be a little bit tight. If you need to, throw a screwdriver in there and just gently pry it open. Check mine here. We like where our gutter's at, so we're going to go ahead and apply sealant to our gutter 90 as well. Everything's in place. We'll go ahead and drop some fasteners on the top side. The customer wanted a larger overhang on this project, so we didn't have to cut the end of the panels. A lot of times you'll see this additional foam adhesive on the ends that can prohibit the gutter from sliding on. I like to run a razor blade over the edge to make sure we have a nice smooth edge for the gutter to slip over. That's good, I think. Once your gutter's on, before you put your fasteners in, make sure you're tapping it back on. They have a tendency to try to slide back off before you get the fasteners in. We're going to install these bottom caps for our gutter 90s. These are decorative. If you look here, you're always going to see a little bit of gap in the panel, so these caps go into place to cover that up. Make sure when you're tightening these down, don't over tighten them. They will crack if you put them down too tight. Put our beam ends on. We're going to take our end cap, our beam end plug, snap that into place, slip that over our post clip. I like to wait until after we get the roof on to do this. Depending on your project, sometimes we're cutting our roof down and we have to trim these down. On this one we didn't. So we're ready to begin sealing our roof, and there's a couple steps we need to take to make sure we do this correctly. First of all of our seams and joints that we're going to seal up, we want to wipe down with alcohol prior to. Secondly, we're going to be applying protector wrap spray adhesive to the areas our peel and seal flashing is going to be in contact with the roof. We're going to give it a few minutes to tack up before we install the peel and seal. Humidity levels can affect this time frame. Consult the manufacturer's instructions for specific information. And then lastly, we want to make sure that we're installing our peel and seal working from the bottom of our roof back towards the host structure. We want to overlap all of our flashing in the same manner roofing shingles would overlap, so there's no opportunities for water to get underneath one of our layers of flashing. Once we have our peel and seal flashing in place, we want to apply a good amount of pressure to make sure that our adhesive is bonded to the top of our panel. I like to use a carpet seam roller along the entire edge of our flashing to get that bond. If you don't get it down all the way, the edges will start to peel up, and that allows water and debris to come in and jeopardize the adhesive bond to the top of the panel. The last step in sealing our roof is adding our L flashing up under our drip edge onto the top of our roof. You can buy this pre-bent, you can use a metal brake, or the good old-fashioned way, bend it around a 2x4. I'm gonna lay it on here, leave myself about 2 inches, and just work my way down that. I want to leave this just shy of a 45-degree angle because when it's tucked under the drip edge, I want it to be laying flat against my roof. After your flashing's installed, you're going to want to apply solar seal to the top of the screws holding the panels to the beam. I like to wait until after we've gotten the peel and seal flashing in place to do this. Otherwise, your flashing is going to be rolling all through your sealant. So we got our outlet and our first downspout in. I'm going to go ahead and install our gutter straps. I've measured down 24 inches. I like to pick uniform spots on the post. I like 24 down from the top and 18 inches up from the bottom, but use your own discretion. I'm holding off on installing our second one. There's still some more site work that's going to be done. So we're going to be temporarily installing our gutter into this drain pipe. My helper got a little eager there and attached our downspout ahead of time, but we got her in there. I have a section of our gutter here that we've cut off. These gutters are much thicker than your standard seamless gutter, so you have to use an outlet rather than just cutting a notch. The way to do this is mark the inside using a multi-tool or a grinder, cut out a hole roughly the size of your outlet and drop it through the top. That flange you're going to seal around, and when you attach your downspout to the flange, it'll lock it into place. We got this one done already. So our cover's pretty much complete and we're about to start cleaning up. At this point in time, I like to do a walk around, check everything that we've done so far, make sure that no steps were missed, anything that a customer might notice, a building inspector may notice, anything that may cause a leak. We don't want to return to this structure if we don't have to. So the first part of this project is complete, our structure's up. At this point in time, our general contractor is going to be taking measurements for retractable screening, an outdoor kitchen is going to be built, and the remaining of the paver work is going to be done. At that point in time, we're going to return and show you how to install retractable screening on a Renaissance system. There we go.
That's it. Yep.